When you buy furniture from Wayfair, you're not just getting furniture, you're setting your home up for a lifetime of memories. Visit wayfair.ca today or download the Wayfair app. Furniture made for all of life's moments. That's Wayfair.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Debate, interviews, and breaking news. The Elias Macco Show. News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Trudy Mason filling in for Elias. We are talking now about AI as it pertains to the courts. There have been a couple of court cases in recent times about lawyers, for example, having AI help them prepare cases. In one case, a citizen here in Quebec was ordered to pay his ex-wife $1,000 after he knowingly filed court arguments that included fake legal cases that have been generated by GPT. Now, in this particular case, the guy had been warned during a consultation with a lawyer that what he had prepared to press, this was about division of assets after a divorce. And a lawyer had warned him, hey, those decisions that you're citing, they don't exist. But the man decided to present them to the court anyway. And it was that deliberate decision to present false cases that really sank him and led to the $1,000 fine. Here to help us understand more about what role, if any, AI should be playing in our legal system is Tiago Murias, defense lawyer with Emmer and Murias. Tiago, good morning.
Good morning.
So we have this case involving a citizen who had been advised but went away anyway with this information presented to the court that had been hallucinated by ChatGPT. Did he really sink his own boat there?
Well, of course. I mean, if you're warned by a lawyer that the cases don't exist and you still go with it anyway, of course you will have consequences. Maybe he didn't believe the lawyer. I don't know why he decided to go through with it, but it doesn't surprise me. Of course, it's something that we see more and more often.
Are you seeing it at your end by people who come to you thinking they have a case because they've, quote unquote, done research with AI?
Oh, yes. It's each month it's more frequent. So it's really something that happens every week that the client or someone that wants to have an opinion give me stuff, made up stuff by ChatGPT. It's what it is. It's made up stuff because people don't understand what ChatGPT is. And you think they're having a conversation with an agent, which is not what ChatGPT does. So I think a big part of the problem is people not understanding what ChatGPT and other AI robots are actually.
Can you give us some examples of the cases that have been presented to you by people who've consulted ChatGPT? Just in general, what kind of cases are they hoping to mount based on these fake documents?
That they can be released from custody based on some legal principles that either don't exist or don't apply in Canada. That's two big problems that we have is either they don't exist or they just don't apply in Canada. Fake case law, because ChatGPT will just create case law. It's not a bug; it's a feature. It's meant to create text. So they will just bring me case law, and I say it doesn't exist because they just created the case law. Fake references. So yes, it's something that we see a lot.
When you confront clients about this, do you ask them, for example, why are you doing your own legal research? Usually lawyers are supposed to do legal research.
There's two main answers. First of all, it's a question of cost. Sometimes, look, I don't have I don't have the means to pay for a lawyer to do the whole research, or they just believe that since it works for other stuff, like get kitchen recipes or travel suggestions, it does work for medicine. It does work for lawyer. So that's a big issue. People use ChatGPT as a big Google research engine, which is, it's okay if you want to do like a lasagna. But if you want to prepare your case, it's not the same thing because it creates text. And it doesn't have access to the jurisprudence, the case law, because those services block ChatGPT. So we really need to have a specialized a ChatGPT that is for lawyers that have access to the actual real case law. So that's the main problem here.
Well, I have heard that there are companies putting together verified AI resources that have been trained on Canadian law exclusively. So that may correct but I can't see them giving that away for free.
Yeah, exactly. You have to pay. You have this thing. You have to pay to have access to the real case law. And since people, they want the free stuff, well, the free stuff comes with hallucinating case law that doesn't exist. Like I said, it's not a bug. It's not ChatGPT makes a mistake. It's the way it's meant to work. The problem is people don't understand that.
What about using AI, for example, in preparing phrasing for your argument, or a lawyer who uses ChatGPT to figure out how to phrase a statement that he wants to make before a judge? Is that legit in your view?
Yeah, well, if you use ChatGPT to correct the form, to correct the mistakes, I use it because, let's say English is not my first language. I can use ChatGPT to give me advice on linguistic terms. That's fine. But first, you always verify. Everything you put on ChatGPT, you verify. Second of all, you don't put confidential things. You don't put stuff from your clients. But stuff that you could use Google, just basically a better Google, If I would use Google to search for a better way to phrase things, then yeah, you can use ChatGPT for that. It doesn't need reflection. You just basically search the word that you're looking for. If you ask him to do your reflection, to do your actually professional job, that's where the problem is.
And that's something that I don't think a lawyer would divulge to the client, right? The lawyer, the high-priced lawyer, is not going to say to the client, oh yeah, I'm going to make ChatGPT work up an argument for you.
Well, because you're not supposed to do it. You're not supposed to have ChatGPT to do the argument for you, obviously. But the work that you could ask, let's say an assistant before to do it, which is like to correct the linguistic problems, yeah, I mean, I can see the point. And you're actually saving money for the client. But you're not supposed to ask ChatGPT to do the reasoning. In every kind of discipline.
Do you feel that there is an obligation to inform the client of any AI use in the preparation of the case, whether it's just to frame arguments, correct grammar, or anything more?
Well, if it's to correct grammar, you wouldn't say to the client that your assistant corrected your grammar, right? So in that part, I don't see. But if you're using ChatGPT to do actually research, well, I think yes. I mean, I think that's another level. The same thing you would ask the client if an articling student would help you. We'll say, look, in the contract, if there's an articling student that would do it, I will charge you less. I think it's probably the same thing. But for grammar corrections, I mean, that's maybe something that is so trivial that I'm not sure about that.
Now, I think if memory serves correctly, we've had at least one or two cases of judges who seem to have generated their rulings with the help of AI. As a defense lawyer, would that be automatic grounds for an appeal if you found out?
Probably. I mean, you have to prove it, of course. I think there is two cases where there's suspicion of that. Of course, there will be an investigation on that. But if you have evidence that the actual reasoning was made by ChatGPT, yes, I think that's a good ground of appeal. That's for sure.
Well, it does seem that people are getting better and better at spotting AI generated text. Our daughter has actually become quite good at that and can point out characteristics in text that point to the use of an AI because they tend to write in a very patterned way. So you can pick out elements of the pattern and it becomes pretty clear. The way forward, Tiago, do you think we're going to see more of this before people catch on that it's not safe?
For sure. For sure. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's for sure. There will be a lot of consequences for people doing that. And then there will be, I believe, it's going to get better because there will be more education. People understand better how to use it. But I don't think it's going to get better now. I think it's probably going to get worse a little bit.
Ooh. Until
some really judgments and the people have real consequences for put fake stuff, because that's what it is. It's fake stuff. It's just stuff that doesn't exist.
And you're wasting the court's time when you're doing that.
Yeah, because we have to verify everything. When we receive stuff that is made by AI, I have to verify. and then we look, oh, doesn't exist, oh, doesn't exist. And it's just time that is being wasted, basically.
Tiago, thanks for your time.
No problem, my pleasure. Have a nice one.
Tiago Murias, defense lawyer with Emmer and...
When you buy furniture from Wayfair, you're not just getting furniture, you're setting your home up for a lifetime of memories. Visit wayfair.ca today or download the Wayfair app. Furniture made for all of life's moments. That's Wayfair.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my God. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus. Now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch.
Time is valuable. Thanks for spending your morning with us. The Elias Macko Show on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Telling you now about a Quebec scientist who was puzzled by the number of emails coming in from his children's school. He had 2 kids in elementary school. So, like a good scientist, Miguel Tremblay decided he was going to count them for a whole school year, which he did. This story is in a column written by Judith Lachapelle in La Presse today. And Miguel Tremblay ended up counting 456 emails in one school year concerning his kids' school. And being a fan of statistical analysis, he broke them down to various categories. From the daycare, 209 emails. That's the school daycare providing before and after school care. 209. From the teacher, 132. From the principal, 70. From another parent or an organization within the school, 22. From the parents committee, the PPO, as they're called, 9. From the school services center in the French sector, that's what school boards are called, the what replaced school boards, 9. And from an automated platform of some kind, 5. So the vast majority came from either the daycare at the school or the teacher. 132 from the teacher. 514-790-0800, asking you whether you think that's reasonable for a family with 1 or 2 kids in elementary school to receive that number of emails from the school in one school year. He talks about having digital overload on this. And he says that there are some very concrete steps that schools can take to reduce the flood of emails that a parent is expected to keep up with because, heaven forbid your child is the one who shows up without that special themed snack for, hat day at the school, or shows up without the hat, or doesn't bring in money for a field trip, or doesn't fill out the proper form for something or other. 514-790-0800. How many emails is too many emails? What this scientist is proposing is that the school makes sure that if it is a general email and not concerning just one particular of the family's children, that only one email be sent. So that would eliminate duplication if you have 2 or more students at the same school. He says that the ones that require an action by the family, something has to be brought to school, a form has to be figured out, that actually be listed in this subject line so a parent knows when it comes in, oh, I have something to deal with here. This is not just an informational thing telling me about an upcoming PED day. This is something that I will have to do and probably on deadline. He says that would help a lot. And he's also advising parents, and I think maybe the tech savvy among might be able to do this, configure your email filters so that these emails are automatically sorted. The ones that come from the teacher get sorted and flagged this way. The ones that come from the daycare sorted and flagged this way, and so on through all the categories, so that you can at least try and stay on top of the most urgent stuff. As a parent, I would be paying, I think, the most attention to the ones coming from the teacher, because those are the ones most likely to directly concern the child, and less likely to be about some general activity that the school is going to be staging where there is no action to be taken. And he questions, too, about the sheer number, about whether some of them can be grouped together so that you don't do as many email blasts out to parents, because I think it's very confusing for parents these days. Often schools will use a combination of emails for certain types of stuff and a Facebook page, or the school boards or school services center type website for other types of communication, and you're expected as a parent to keep up with all this. I think a lot of people have trouble managing their own personal emails at work and at home, and to have this added layer flooding in every day at a rate of 2 or 3 per school day. Can you imagine getting 2 or 3 emails per school day having to do with your kids? A lot of them action items that you're supposed to stay on top of. And yeah, I know the old way was probably not better. The form that your child forgets to actually hand to you, that is found days, if not weeks later, crumpled up in a soggy ball at the bottom of the backpack. Yeah, I know that's probably not a good alternate, going back to the bad old days. I get that. But there's got to be, in my view, I have some sympathy for Miguel Tremblay, because there's got to be some way to manage the digital flood. So good on him for taking a scientific approach to this. I think that he really, coming up with that number, 456 emails from the school, the teacher, the daycare in 1 year, certainly illustrated what the modern day parent has to deal with if they have a child at the elementary school level. We are up against the 11:30 news update. When we come back, we will talk about the possibility that the future Quebec government will resurrect this idea of a Quebec Constitution. Certainly, the Parti Québécois has indicated it will be revisiting that. I think we've also seen something like that from the Quebec Conservatives. And this organization says, be prepared. Be prepared before they even open the consultations. More on that coming up.
When you buy furniture from Wayfair, you're not just getting furniture, you're setting your home up for a lifetime of memories. Visit wayfair.ca today or download the Wayfair app. Furniture made for all of life's moments. That's Wayfair.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Canadian women are looking for more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Missed something?
Subscribe to the Elias Macco Show podcast to catch up.
Available on iHeartRadio and wherever you get your podcasts.
There is a push for people to get ahead of any effort to create, again, a Quebec Constitution with call for citizens' assemblies and discussions to be held now, so that the community is ready to react if the idea is resurrected. Are you on board? We'll speak to a spokesperson for the Citizens Constitutional Summit.
Now trending, the latest in lifestyle with Andrea Elias and Orla Johannes.
Hi, I'm Andrea. And I'm Orla. This week, we'll have tips to ease back-to-school anxiety and stress in kids.
Plus, the best meals to make ahead of time when you know the week is going to be hectic.
Now trending, Sunday afternoon at 2 on CJAD 800.
When you buy furniture from Wayfair, you're not just getting furniture, you're setting your home up for a lifetime of memories. Visit wayfair.ca today or download the Wayfair app. Furniture made for all of life's moments. That's Wayfair.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
The newest tracks. Let's go. New music. And the next big thing.
Always on the new music first.
Your first place to hear it all.
'Cause you gon' like it, love it, wanna play it twice.
Playing now.
iHeart New Music. Your digital station for brand new drops, fresh finds, and tomorrow's bangers.
I think we need something new.
Discover iHeart New Music. Always fresh, always first. Stream now on the free iHeartRadio app.
Breaking news. Considered. The Elias Macco Show. News Talk Radio. CJAD 800.
Quebec Constitution, the CAQ, under the leadership of François Legault, Justice Minister Simon Jolin Barrette, and then Christine Frechette tried to bring this in. Bill 1 ended up dying on the order paper, but it could be that it would make a return. Certainly, Simon Jolin Barrette seemed pretty dedicated to it. He caught a lot of flack for opening up wide consultations only after the draft had been made and not before. We have on the election front, the Parti Québécois, of course, proposing some type of an interim constitution as it lays the groundwork for a referendum and then making that permanent in the event of a yes vote. We have the Quebec Conservatives this week saying, yep, constitution for Quebec. They're concerned about federal meddling in provincial jurisdictions, so they'd like to kind of shore that up. So amid all this talk about equipping Quebec with a constitution comes a call for consultation now within various communities. And there's a piece in the Gazette signed by Giuliano D'Andrea, Richard Walsh Smith, Julius Gray, and my next guest, Peter White, spokesperson for Citizens Constitutional Summit. Peter, thank you for speaking to us.
It's a great pleasure, Rudy. Thank you.
Tell us, first of all, about the Greater Quebec movement. Are you part of that?
Yes, I am. I was one of the people that was invited to make a presentation on Bill 1 before the Special Committee of the National Assembly, but it was a total fiasco because there was a big snowstorm that day, and we all had to participate in the end remotely. And it was late at night. All the media had left. We only had 2 or 3 minutes to say our piece, and it was absolutely useless.
So is the Greater Quebec movement looking ahead now and anticipating that there will be more constitution talk after the provincial election this fall?
Absolutely. And the reason for that is that every single party that has been represented in the National Assembly before the dissolution has spoken in favor of some form of Quebec Constitution. So I think it's inevitable, whoever wins the election, that the idea of a Quebec Constitution is going to be back on the table. And we think that we should prepare ourselves and get ready to represent the anglophones and the allophones of the province and make certain that we're adequately consulted.
How would you go about doing that?
Well, we want to start with some smaller local meetings, almost coffee meetings, but like you see at election time, just to get people thinking about the idea. And by the way, we're very disappointed that in the last round, the sort of knee-jerk reaction of most Anglophones in Quebec, certainly the spokespersons, was no, we don't want anything to do with the Constitution. We think it's a terrible idea. I think that's very short-sighted. It's going to happen whether we like it or not, and we should be darn sure that it comes out the way we would like it to, not just leave it to other people.
It is true, I think, that Simon Jolin Barrette may have learned his lesson about presenting a document as a fait accompli and only then going out to consultations. Would you expect that when this resurfaces, it might be done a little bit differently, that you will get a chance to speak before there is any type of draft?
Well, we certainly hope so. You can never be sure how the government is going to manage these things. And it probably won't be Monsieur Jean Barrette who is in charge after the next election, even if his party wins. So one never knows. But I think our whole point here is that we should be ready for anything that comes up, and for any party that wins, we should make sure. And the media have a huge role to play in this, because we can jump up and down all we want, but unless people know what we're doing, unless the media push the idea that we have to be consulted, it probably won't happen.
What do you see as some key areas where the voices of Anglophones would be important?
Well, clearly the protection of the English language. That would be number one. Some parties talk only of historic Anglophones. We reject that idea. It's not only historic Anglophones that want to keep the English language respected and active. It's everybody in the province who speaks English, whether they've been here for one day or 1,000 years. So that's one main point. Obviously, the main institutions representing the Anglophones in Quebec, McGill University, Concordia University, Sir John Abbott, and all the hospitals that have been built by Anglophones in Quebec, our health system, and our media. So I would say those are the main things that we would have to fight to protect and make sure that they're respected.
Well, I always hearken back to Jacques Parizeau musing about how there are too many English radio stations in Montreal, and
yeah.
an independent Quebec might want to do something about that. So,
I know. Isn't that awful?
You touched on some of the hot spots there. I think education and healthcare are really the key ones. Language enforcement is another. Would you hope to make any headway with a Parti Québécois or CAQ government on that score, those scores?
Yes, we would. We think that in the end, our position is very reasonable. It's a position for free expression and freedom of choice. And we know we're certainly, none of us in our group have anything against the affirmation and the protection and the development of the French language and culture in Quebec. That's why we live here, because we love that. But there doesn't have to be a conflict between the progress and protection of French and the protection of English. That's where we think people have got off the track.
I notice also in your letter in the Gazette, you talk about a change in philosophy about education and moving to a bilingual model. Would that be just in certain communities or circumstances?
I live in Knowlton, Quebec, which is in the Eastern Townships, and nearest large big school is the Massey Vanier School in Cowansville. And it's supposedly it's bilingual, but it's not really, because it consists of one school for Anglos and one school for Francos side by side, but they hardly ever mix. And so we think that's a huge missed opportunity. And we would like to see some school boards try real bilingual education with both English-speaking and French-speaking people mixing all the time, being in the same classes together, doing sports and other extracurriculars together, so that they really get to know each other's language and culture. And that's what's really missing, I think, in our whole educational system.
Well, I remember when our daughter was at St. Thomas, it too was connected to a Francophone high school, and they had to stagger the recesses and lunch hours because otherwise there'd be fist fights out in the yard. So, yeah.
Well, that's terrible. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? And any school or school board that allows that should be, I don't think, thrown out of office. It's not hard to control fist fights in the yard.
Well, I think that's why they came up with the idea of staggering the time that the kids were at the two schools were out together and eliminating overlap.
To me, that's just giving up.
I would perceive that there would be quite a bit of resistance from most of the major parties to the idea of bilingual education. Would you, are you trying to row up the river on that one?
Well, Trudy, I'm of a certain age, and when I was young in Quebec, all the bilingual people in Quebec, or nearly all, were Anglophones, and the very few Francophones spoke English. And now it's even worse, because most Francophone kids in Quebec don't have the opportunity to learn English, and that puts them in a real handicap when they get into the business world, no matter what their job is. And so I think that we have to be realistic about this, and we have to recognize that all Quebecers should be bilingual. And I don't see any argument against that. We can both protect each other's language and help each other along without any threat to each other, and yet still take advantage of both languages.
The Citizens Constitutional Summit, has a date been set, or is the planning advanced?
No, that is a different initiative. Our plan there is more long-term, and we think that once we know who the government is after the next election, and once we know what their plans are with regard to a possible constitution, that we will start this initiative right across the province if we can. It's going to be a huge job, and it will need funding, which we don't yet have. But that's our ambition, to try and really form a common front of all anglophones and allophones so that we can speak together about any proposal for a new constitution.
In the interim, where can folks find out more about the Greater Quebec movement, Peter?
On our website. There's not much there yet, but we're working away at it. We're brand new, and quite frankly, we are on a bit of a pause until the election results are known, because things change so quickly. But once the election is over, I can guarantee we'll be more active, and we'll have a very active website, and I hope we'll have a lot of media coverage too.
All right, that's the Greater Quebec movement looking ahead to, at some point, holding the Citizens Constitutional Summit. Peter White, thank you very much for spending time with us this morning.
Thank you very much, Trudy.
We are at 11:40.
When you buy furniture from Wayfair, you're not just getting furniture, you're setting your home up for a lifetime of memories. Visit wayfair.ca today or download the Wayfair app. Furniture made for all of life's moments. That's Wayfair.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
The newest tracks. Let's go. New music. And the next big thing.
Always on the new music first.
Your first place to hear it all.
'Cause you gon' like it, love it, wanna play it twice.
Playing now.
iHeart New Music. Your digital station for brand new drops, fresh finds, and tomorrow's bangers.
I think we need something new.
Discover iHeart New Music. Always fresh, always first. Stream now on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, you've likely noticed this is the day for the Caring for Kids Radiothon for the Montreal Children's Hospital here on CJAD 800. As one of the busiest pediatric emergency departments in North America, the Children's relies on quite the team to provide care for when families need it most. Joining me now for the Senville Miracle Break is Dr. Lori Plotnick. Dr. Plotnick is a full-time pediatric emergency physician at the Children's and the Emergency Department Trauma Medical Head. Dr. Plotnick, can you start off by telling us about some of the things you may see in an ER for kids that you would not necessarily see in an ER for adults?
Yes, absolutely. So we actually face many unique challenges in the Children's Emergency Department. We are caring for children from the first days of life through adolescence, and of course every age brings different illnesses, different risks, and different needs, and we have to communicate with children differently depending on their age. They can't always tell us what's wrong or where it hurts, and they can sometimes become seriously ill very, very quickly. So we have to listen to children in a different way than when you're caring for adults. We listen not just to their words, but to their behavior, and we often rely on their caregivers and their families to help us care for them. And at the same time, we're also not just caring for children and teenagers, we're also caring for an entire family that are often frightened and overwhelmed. And of course, children who can be very scared even for something as simple as an x-ray. So in the Children's Emergency Department, our job is not only to recognize illness and injury quickly and to treat that, but also to integrate comfort measures to make a stressful and often frightening experience feel safe and reassuring for the families.
Well, as one of those reassured panicky parents myself a couple of times with our kids, I know how important that aspect of your work is. You must get a real feeling of satisfaction from some of the cases that you handle, that you were able to help these kids and these families.
Yeah, I mean, it's we see children who come in with something as simple as a fever. For families, that's not simple. For us, that's quite common, to devastating illnesses and injuries. And It's we say it's a privilege because these are families and children and teenagers who are letting us into something that is stressful and one of their most vulnerable times. So what is incredible is not only finding the right diagnosis and making the right providing the right treatment, but also being there for the families at a really stressful and vulnerable time and supporting them through that.
We're speaking with Dr. Lori Plotnick, full-time pediatric emergency physician at the Children's and the Emergency Department Trauma Medical Head. Brought to you by Senville. Why is it so important, Dr. Plotnick, for people to get behind the Montreal Children's Hospital and its foundation? What difference does it make for the patients and the families that you see?
So the community support is huge. The exceptional care that we provide is made possible in large part by the generosity of the community. So speaking from the emergency department, every donation helps us transform a child's experience in the emergency department. The support has allowed us to combine cutting-edge technology with innovative child-centered care. For example, we've been able to purchase bedside ultrasounds and provide simulation training that help us deliver safe, fast, effective care. And we've also, with that support from the community, we've also been able to deliver care in a comforting way, addressing anxiety, fear, pain with interactive walls, a brand new distraction room, child life specialists, all to help the families through these difficult moments in the emergency department.
This Miracle Break has been brought to you by Senville. You can join the Circle of Hugs by calling the Dormez-vous phone bank at 514-939-KIDS. That's 514-939-5437.
You're listening to the Caring for Kids Radiothon. The Brown Shoes Foundation encourages you to make a donation and join the Circle of Hugs now. Call the Dormez-vous phone bank at 514-939-KIDS.
When you buy furniture from Wayfair, you're not just getting furniture, you're setting your home up for a lifetime of memories. Visit wayfair.ca today or download the Wayfair app. Furniture made for all of life's moments. That's Wayfair.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Canadian women are looking for more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
The Elias Macco Show. News Talk Radio. CJAD 800.
Well, look at that day out there. I keep saying, enjoy the August weather while we can. 21 degrees as of this moment. The Humidex at 25. That's not too bad. We're supposed to have a high of 24 degrees today, so we're at 21. It is just warm enough to be pleasant, not so hot as to be unpleasant, and just enough sun peeking through to make it a nice August day. As we wrap up this edition of the Elias Macco Show, we're going to be touching on a little bit of musing in the U.S. about movies that capture the current mood of the U.S. as it celebrates 250 years. And wondering maybe if Canadians have a different perspective on what movie might capture the U.S. spirit at this point in time. Bringing in Maxime Kedat, content producer of the Elias Macco Show.
Trudy, it's, as mentioned, it's the 250th anniversary this year of the United States, and the New York Times decided to ask its readers what film best describes the state of the United States as we speak. Now, the readers had multiple answers to this question, but the most used film to be describing the United States is the 2006 version of Mike Judge's Idiocracy. Mm. Some commenters seemed almost sad even to list that movie as their number one idea. They link it to their feelings about the country today, while more described it as a documentary.
So this is Americans nominating Idiocracy as capturing the zeitgeist of the U.S. at 250 years old. That's not Canadians. Those are Americans.
The irony speaks itself.
Yeah.
The next one on the list is the 1972 The Godfather movie. Okay. Showing that readers saw it as a tale of an immigrant family striving for the American dream, and a story of power and corruption mirroring America's development. Other movies include the 1969 movie Easy Rider, the 1973 classic American Graffiti, and the 1989 classic from Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing.
What would your nomination be, Max?
I mean, Idiocracy is not necessarily is not a bad choice in my eyes. I think that kind of fits the bill, if you ask me.
What about you, Jay Farrar?
I'll go with Edward Zwick's classic 1989 film Glory.
Oh,
which really, and I say this in all seriousness, I know we like to joke about it, but Glory depicts the very best of the U.S. and also the very worst of it, all in a 2-hour span, and I believe it's about the Civil War, and it's a battle I believe they're still fighting.
Okay, I'm going to bring in Akil Aline on this one. He happens to be in studio. He's going to be filling in on the Elias Macco show next week for a few days. Which days, Akil?
Yes, next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That's the 24th, 25th, 26th.
All right.
So I'm looking forward to that very eagerly.
We'll be filling in for Elias. So what's your nomination for a movie that captures the U.S. zeitgeist?
Well, you guys have already stolen my thunder because I was absolutely going to go with Idiocracy. Absolutely. I still cannot get over the fact that 2 years ago, Donald Trump, at a time when the American electorate was angry about the cost of everything, inflation and everything, Donald Trump ran on a platform of slapping tariffs on every import in creation, which any economist will tell you is a recipe for higher prices, not lower prices, and still managed to win. I still can't get over that.
No,
and there's plenty of other examples I could cite, too.
You know, Idiocracy seems to be popular with our texters, too, because we do have a text in. Absolutely the movie, says Colleen. Another nominee, Empire Strikes Back. Is Trump, you know, Emperor Palpatine in that?
Can I also just add very quickly? I agree with the nomination of The Godfather, but not for the reason that was stated. I don't think because it's the story of an immigrant family trying to make it in America. I think it's because it applies to today because Donald Trump is trying to run America like a mafia boss.
Oh, okay. I was going to nominate any movie in the Scream franchise. Scream 1, Scream 2, Scream, what are they up to now? Scream 7? Any one of those. As a Canadian, I look at the U.S. and that's what I feel like doing. I feel like there's a slasher on the loose down there, and everybody, American, Canadian, we're falling prey.
When you buy furniture from Wayfair, you're not just getting furniture, you're setting your home up for a lifetime of memories. Visit wayfair.ca today or download the Wayfair app. Furniture made for all of life's moments. That's Wayfair.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my God. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus. Now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch.
Ray. That's just my take. I have a feeling this topic might resurface at some point. Thanks very much for everything to Jay Farrar, technical producer, Maxime Cadoc, content producer of the Elias Macco Show. I'll be back in this seat tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.
When you buy furniture from Wayfair, you're not just getting furniture, you're setting your home up for a lifetime of memories. Visit wayfair.ca today or download the Wayfair app. Furniture made for all of life's moments. That's Wayfair.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Canadian women are looking for more more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
You're listening to the voice of Montreal.
News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
An iHeartRadio station.
Hello, Canada.
This is Bryan Adams Radio. Hosted by Bryan Adams himself.
We'll play a few of mine, a ton of my favorites, and some must-hear behind-the-scenes stories from the world of rock and roll.
I'm coming to get you!
One thing about doing rock and roll so long is you end up meeting a lot of the people that you admire. Sometimes you even get to work with them.
It's only love, and that's all. Bryan Adams Radio. I'm coming back to you. Now available on the free iHeartRadio app.
Hey everybody, how are you tonight? Sounds great.